Good evening. Welcome to the post-launch news conference for Orbital ATK's 6th resupply mission to the International Space Station under NASA's commercial resupply contract. The Cygnus spacecraft is on its way to the space station this evening. The Antares rocket lifted off today at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport Launch Pad 0A here at NASA Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The Cygnus is scheduled to arrive at the space station on Sunday, October 23rd, with about 5,100 pounds of scientific research and other cargo for the crew. Joining us here at Wallops Flight Facility are two people who will give us the latest status update on the mission. Joe Montalbano, Deputy Manager for the International Space Station Program at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, and Frank Culbertson, President of the Space Systems Group for Orbital ATK. After a few opening comments, we'll take your questions. For those on the phone, if you have a question, please press *1 at any time. For those following us online, please use the hashtag AskNASA. Joel?
Well, what a great launch. Just fantastic. The International Space Station program is glad to have another Cygnus in orbit. We'd like to thank Orbital ATK, the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, the state of Virginia, the NASA team here at Wallops, the heroes at Bermuda that were able to recover after the Bermuda hurricane, and just a fantastic team getting us to where we are today. As you said, just a little over 5,000 pounds of cargo going on board. We're looking forward to seeing that. New science and research hardware. We have some life support hardware, some crew provisions hardware, just to name a few. We've had to delay the berthing till Sunday, and that allows us time to get the Soyuz spacecraft that's going to launch this Wednesday. That'll launch this Wednesday out of Baikonur, Kazakhstan. They'll have a docking on Friday, and then some crew time to get reconfigured, and then we'll have a berthing early morning on Sunday, just after 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So once again, on behalf of the Space Station program, thank you. Just awesome, and congratulations to everybody involved.
Thank you very much, Joel. It is a very exciting night. Why don't we go ahead and show a video of the star of this evening's show, and we'll give you a chance to see what that looked like, and then we can talk about more specifics. So there's Antares on the pad. I'm not sure where we are in the count on this video, but hopefully we're very close to liftoff, because I've run out of things to say about it. Okay, here we are. Ignition. It came off the pad quicker, actually, than the previous version of Antares. We were happy to see that. Very bright, overpowers the cameras, but you could see it climbing into the night sky. In launch control, we could feel the rumble, feel the roar coming through the building after a few seconds, and that's always a good feeling. And then, of course, watching it and watching the telemetry, it was right on track. It actually did follow the predicted track almost exactly. It hit most of the milestones a little bit early, which is always a good thing. Main engine cutoff was just about right on time. Coasted for a few seconds, and then the second stage ignited and took us into orbit. Our eventual orbit was actually a little bit higher than we expected. Again, a very good thing. No extra charge from the Flight Systems Group, I heard. But we're at about 368 by 213 kilometer orbit to start with. And then, of course, we'll do additional burns to circularize that and start the chase towards the International Space Station. We have, in fact, deployed the solar arrays. That's always a critical moment so that we can get power from the sun and keep our batteries charged. The solar arrays come out in a somewhat complicated way, but unfurl like a Japanese fan and then rotate into position, and then we can use them to keep the spacecraft powered. We do have over 2,400 kilograms of cargo on board. We're going to loiter for a couple of days and work the orbital mechanics to get close to the station so that when Sunday morning arrives, we're in the right position to make our final approach. And we'll go to 250 meters from the station, pause for a little while, and then finish the approach autonomously and stop at 10 meters where the crew will grapple us with the mechanical arm and then attach us to node 1 on the station, the Unity node. So it's a very exciting time for us, and I want to reiterate what Joel said. Our sincere thanks to the entire team that made this possible. Dave Thompson spoke to the team after the launch tonight, and he talked about how, well, actually, first Charlie spoke and talked about how the company had responded to the mishap 2 years ago and immediately said, we're in the business of providing cargo service. We're going to provide you with a service. And so we flew twice, Cygnus on an Atlas, and now we've returned to Wallops, to our home base, basically, and our home vehicle, and we're going to continue to fly out of here on Antares for the foreseeable future. It is great to be back. It's great to see the way people came together and made this happen. As Dave said, it took a little longer than we thought it would. These things are always harder than you expect them to be in many ways, but it was done right, and that was the most important thing. People don't remember so much when you launch as whether you launch and whether you get to your destination, and that's what we did tonight. We got to orbit, and now we're on our way to fulfill the mission of delivering more cargo to the crew on the station and continuing the very important research that's going on the station. And that is something that we're very much focused on as a company, as a space program, and as a nation, and that's expanding our knowledge of the universe. We are very proud at Orbital ATK to be a part of that, to be a part of human spaceflight, to be a part of exploration, and to be expanding the frontiers of human knowledge. And we intend to continue doing that forever. So, or at least as long as we have contracts. Anyway, it's been a great night. My congratulations to the entire team. Mike Pinkston, the program manager, Scott Lair, the president of Flight Systems Group, provided the leadership. A lot of hard work by a lot of people. Dale Nash and the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and of course the NASA centers that all provided support to this. But especially here at Wallops, we really appreciate the hospitality, appreciate the hard work, and appreciate you all helping us make this happen. So, happy to take your questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. We'll now take questions from folks here in the room as well as folks on the phone using *1 to enter the queue at any time and using the hashtag AskNASA online. Go back here.
This one's most definitely for Frank. It's both technical and then there's a second emotional part. First of all, congratulations on returning to service, Jason Ryan, Spaceflight Insider. The technical part is there was a delay from 740 to 745. Can you provide us some information about that? And I've been covering the space program for about 10 years, and I don't think I've ever heard a NASA administrator say that he will go to his grave being thankful that he knew the CEO of a company. What did that feel like?
Well, actually, that was a great feeling. As it turns out, by coincidence, Charlie Bolden, Dave Thompson, and myself are all from South Carolina, all from about the same era. So it's a nice connection we have in that regard. Dave, as the founder of Orbital Sciences, one of the two companies that came together for Orbital ATK, has known Charlie for a long time. We've got a lot of good business with NASA, and Charlie and all of NASA have been a big supporter of the things we do. But I think they also see us as a big supporter of achieving their goals. And so it's a great partnership. And so, yeah, that does feel good. What was happening late in the count was a lot of things were going on, and the launch conductor decided that to make sure that we didn't miss anything in the checklist, to add 5 minutes to the time. That was certainly within our allowable window. It made sure that nobody skipped anything. It made sure that all the things that we were dealing with, and this was the first time we'd flown in 2 years out of here and with this team, was going to be done right. And so I think it was a great call on his part. The team reacted quickly, readjusted, got the clock changed, and just kept right on chugging. And as you saw, it worked out great. So that's what a well-trained team does, and I'm very proud of the folks to be able to do that. It was a great cooperation with the NASA range and the test director, as well as the entire Orbital ATK team.
All right, let's go over here.
Hi, Stephen Clark. Can you hear me?
I hear you, but they don't.
Okay. Stephen Clark from Spaceflight Now. A couple of questions, I think both for Frank. First of all, you mentioned, maybe the rocket was a little hot getting into orbit, a little higher orbit than you expected. What does that tell you about the performance of the upgrade to the Antares? And do you have any results from your first look at telemetry of the RD-181s? And my other question is, in the 2 years since the Orb-3 mishap, you ordered 2 Atlas Vs, you bought new engines, you helped pay for the repairs to the launch pad. Can you give us any idea or some color on how much this actually cost your company in terms of money to get to this point? Thanks.
Okay, well, I can't say much about the second one because we really don't talk about contract values unless we have to auditors. But in general, it has been a worthwhile investment by the company and by all the parties involved in bringing this launch pad back to operation. And then, of course, the investment the company made was well over $500 million just beginning this program to begin delivering cargo to the space station. And I think it's worthwhile for the country for us to do that. The performance of the rocket was even better than we had expected. Since it was the first flight of this configuration, we had fairly conservative estimates of what the results would be. The first stage was a little bit above what we expected, but I wasn't too surprised by that. We didn't have the heaviest possible load, and the engines did perform very well. And then the second stage was actually the first time we have used this particular configuration, the Castor 30 XL. So we had fairly conservative estimates of how it would perform. As a solid rocket, it's a little bit different in terms of we can't throttle it. It's going to be what it is, and it did do a good job and put us at a little bit higher altitude than we had expected. But again, that's a really good thing, and so we'll take advantage of that.
I believe we have some questions from social here.
Yep, we have 2 questions right now. The first one comes from Matt Camper, and his question is, what was the toughest challenge you guys had to overcome to get to the launch this evening?
The toughest challenge to get to this evening, that's hard to pin down because it's been 2 years of really hard work. And I think just getting through all the preparations, rehearsals, testing, all of that takes a lot of time. And so working through the timeline of being ready to launch is probably the toughest part of it, because we had to be very, very confident it was all going to work. We had a lot of cooperation, a lot of help from a lot of organizations who tried really hard not to be one of those challenges. Occasionally trying to work together, it is a challenge, but the team worked great and the communication was good, and it just took a while to get here.
Great. And the second question is from Weatherboy on Twitter, and he asks, how long can Cygnus loiter in space while the Soyuz capsule brings new crew to the space station?
The original estimate was if we had a nominal launch, we could loiter for up to 42 days. I'm guessing with the higher performance we had, we could add something to that. I don't know how much yet, but I know we can make it till Sunday.
Great, let's take one over here.
Gene McCullough, Talking Space. First off, Frank, Joel, congratulations.
Thank you.
You just went ahead and put the Mid-Atlantic region back in space again, so thanks a bunch. Frank, did you have any words for your team afterward as well? We didn't hear Dave Thompson's comments. I was just wondering if you had any words for the team, and what do you do for an encore? What's next for Cygnus and Antares? Thanks.
Launch again. Yeah, we'll keep flying. Yes, I did have a few words. You know me, but I basically just tried to recognize the hard work and congratulate them on how well they all worked together. And the persistence, the long hours, a lot of travel for a lot of people, and just the focus on and attention to details that allowed us to get to this point. Without that, it wouldn't have been possible.
And berthing coming up on Sunday, so today is just the start of a great mission. We'll have the Cygnus up on orbit, taking the hardware that the spacecraft has brought up. It'll be up there until November. And so we're looking forward to seeing that up there.
Yep.
All right, we'll take one over here, and then we'll go back over here.
Hi, Hanukkah Weidering here with Space.com. I'm wondering, so with yesterday's launch being scrubbed, what sort of steps did you have to take to reset everything and prepare for today? And how long does this take? And basically, I'm wondering if people were up all night trying to prepare for today after yesterday. Thanks.
No, they weren't really up all night. In fact, crew rest is a very important aspect of doing this job. So we want to make sure people get a good night's rest before they come on console. They came on console early this afternoon for the mission tonight. The recycle really was not that difficult from a recycle standpoint because we didn't get very far, actually anywhere into the count. So we didn't have anything that had to be reversed. All we had to do was fix the cable that had the short that needed to be fixed. Once that was done, we were ready to move forward. And so we sent the team home, except for the ones that had to be there overnight. But we work in shifts. So it was a fairly straightforward approach to our process, rather, to get to this point.
We'll go over here.
Hi, Wayne Rice with eWeek. I'm told this launch set the record for the heaviest load out of Wallops ever. The question I have is, how much did this vehicle weigh at launch, and how much more can you launch out of here now that you have the upgraded Antares?
I'm not sure about that. And
the liftoff mass was about 6,200 kilograms.
well, the payload liftoff mass was 6,200 kilograms, and I'm not sure how that compares to the previous ones, Frank.
It's the most cargo we've flown
Out of Wallops?
Out of Wallops.
Okay, by a little bit, right? Okay. Yeah, but we can carry more now, and we will in future flights.
Over here.
Hi, Ken Kramer for Universe Today and Northeast Astronomy Forum for Frank. You concluded your remarks with a little bit about exploration in the future, and we're going to be exploring. So that's what I want to ask you about. You guys are proposing a cislunar habitat. So I would like you to talk about that, talk about some of the details. Why are you doing that, and how this is going to enable the journey to Mars? What are we going to do with it in lunar orbit and then sending it to, hopefully, to Mars one day?
Well, this will obviously be a joint activity with NASA. They are asking for these designs. We've been proposing and looking at this as a derivative of Cygnus. Both the service module and the pressurized cargo module can be adapted for long-term flight in space. It can be used as control. It can be used as an outpost. It can be used for carrying cargo or for crew habitation. And so we're happy to see that NASA is moving towards developing a system that will allow crews to remain in orbit or in cislunar space for longer periods of time, because you think about it, you're going to need to have supplies there when you get there. It's like going to an expedition to Antarctica. It's nice that you arrive and find your supplies already there, ready to use. And so that would be the original intent of that. And then we hope frequent resupply and also the ability to expand whatever habitation development occurs in cislunar with additional modules. So we think it's a perfect time to start thinking about that and getting people out of low Earth orbit and back to the vicinity of the moon.
Other questions here in the room? Over here.
Hi, Janet Heaton, part of the NASA Social. We actually had a question from Robert Strickland on Twitter asking why no live onboard cameras on the rocket tonight.
We didn't have any on the rocket itself. We have them on the spacecraft, so you'll see video of that downloaded later. But no, and partly because it was a night launch, you wouldn't have seen very much probably. But no, they just didn't have them on this particular version.
Any other questions here in the room? Again, if you're on the phone with a question, please press star 1. One more from Ken.
Ken Kramer again. For Joel, can you tell us just where we're at with the crew supplies on the space station? How many months of supplies they have, and how is this going to extend the provisions that the astronauts have?
So before this Cygnus gets there, we have probably our smallest supply is at least 6 months right now on orbit. So we have 6 months of margin. Once Cygnus gets there, depending on the different commodities that it brings, some commodities are extended a few weeks, some are extended a month or so. But from right now, we have plenty of supplies on board the space station.
We have one more question back here.
Yes, sir. Congratulations. I think your contract was for about 65,000 pounds of merchandise sent to the space station. I'm just curious how much more you have to deliver left under this current contract.
6 more missions.
6 missions.
Yeah.
All from here?
That's the current plan, yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Well, thank you all very much for joining us. And you can find out more about the mission at nasa.gov/Orbital ATK.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.